I know you can't hear it when a video starts because the intro music is rolling and it takes about 30 seconds for the game audio to fade in, but something that always gets me in a really good mood when I come back to play Transport Fever 2 is the music in this game. There's something about it that's so extra. It's not quite up there with like The Sims 1 or SimCity, and honestly, even Manor Lords, if we want to look at more recent examples, because Manor Lords has like that one song on the soundtrack where some absolute maniac is going absolutely buck wild on the flute. You know the song I'm talking about. If you've played Manor Lords or watched anyone play Manor Lords, you've probably heard it in the background. You know, that's not how it goes, but like someone really going to town on a flute. It's great. But this game just has like its own vibe. There's like this weird kind of rocky thing. I just really like it. Anyway, we are back. How's it going, everybody? Welcome back to Transport Fever 2. We have some work to do today that I'm actually kind of excited about because we're going to be starting to make machines all the way up here by Montgomery. Montgomery wants machines. Oklahoma wants machines. Huntsville wants machines. So I want to use this factory to make machines, and this factory happens to want steel and silver. We have some steel production going on over this way, which is going pretty well, and this thing can upgrade a lot. So this guy is going to be able to supply plenty of steel to this factory down here, but the silver is the question, and if you watched the last episode, you know where I'm going with this. A very, very long time ago, we set up this station down here. And this was bringing silver ore from this mine all the way up to a factory just by High Point right down here. It was turning it into silver bars, and then it was bringing it to wherever it was bringing it to. Now, obviously, we're not necessarily going to be doing exactly that anymore. We're going to be taking that silver elsewhere. But I want to try and do this in such a way that I don't have to... Well, I don't want to double up this line. I want to see if I can get away with just a single train going back and forth still. I want to see if that's a thing we can do. So what I'm going to do is start by basically taking out an entire section of this track right here. And realistically, all of this kind of needs to go away. I think we'll keep this section of track just because it's sort of historic. But this bit is going to go, this entire section here is going to go, and this little bit in the middle is going to go as well. This bit too, because what I want to do is I want to try and elevate some tracks above all of this. I think that's going to be step one. So we want to start going, if I can remember the controls for this, that'd be great. It's been a minute. I've been playing a lot of, what have I been playing? I don't know what I've been learning code recently. I've been learning Lua for a little project that I'm working on, and it's fun. I'm really enjoying it, but I don't know the slightest thing about code, to be quite honest with you. It's fun, but I'm yeah, I'm by no means a coder. There's no part of me sitting here going like, I'm really good at code, because no, absolutely not. But it's fun. It's fun learning to sort of read code and understand it in that regard, because I might not be able to write all that much. In fact, I can't really write anything, if I'm completely honest with you. But, well, no, that's a lie. I can write some things. The point being, my point being that it's been fun. It's been fun experimenting with like little bits of code here and there. Anyway, this is going to be the start of our bridge here. Can I get this thing any lower? I think that's going to do. So that covers the highway. It covers the old train line down there. And then basically what I want to do is just connect that station up to this guy. So it wants to sort of go out and back in this way, which I don't love. I'm not going to lie, not a huge fan of that. I'm wondering, can I be a little bit cheeky and bring this down to ground level here and just do a really, really tight little curve on this? I'm kind of thinking I probably can. So let's just keep this in a nice straight line to about there. I think that's now ground level. And if I just bring this a little further to about there, can I do this? I totally can. It does sort of curve out, but I'm okay with that. And it gives us a really pretty solid incline for this entire thing, which arguably probably could have been, that could probably be terrain for a decent chunk of that. We can swap that out from a bridge to some terrain. And if I smooth it out, I think it'll work. So we'll do this. We will approve. I'll come back and smooth that out shortly. But for now, I need to push this thing the entire way through. And I've just realized there's, am I doing anything with this factory? It's got a lot of stuff. Am I delivering anything? Hold on a minute. Suppliers. No one's supplying this. Why don't I use this factory? Wasn't this the factory I was using originally? It might have been. Do I have, I mean, I probably do have steel I can bring in here. Do I want to do that though? No, Salem traffic's already bad enough. I like the idea of focusing on the little trinity that we have going on up here. So let's very quickly push this new track through here. And I've just realized there's a bridge in the way. Okay. But as if by some miracle, I am able to just about get under that bridge, which I really wasn't expecting to do. So that's a pleasant surprise. As for the rest of this, that might be slightly trickier. That's going to be a bit of a challenge is what that's going to be, because this road over here does not want to behave. And apparently neither does, well, any of this. So if I was to bring you back a little bit, if I can get you to just snap a nice straight line, I think that's our snapping point right there. It is going to collide, which is sort of to be expected. I don't think I'm going to get this thing to go level. I can do this, which is definitely a look. Not sure how I feel about it, but it's definitely a look. Yeah, I don't really know what I'm going to do with this. I realize I've had this problem before with this entire stretch, so we're going to have to figure this out somehow or some other way. I've really got no idea. Can I elevate the midpoint there at all? No. It doesn't really want to seem to let me do that. What if I just sort of bring this out and see what it does if I try elevating all of this in the middle? Okay, so with the line now going across the highway, under this bridge, over this avenue, it's not very pretty looking over the avenue, but it's the best I could do, over all of these streets and then across this one directly, I'm kind of faced with a bit of a dilemma, which is that I need to either go straight up this way past Oklahoma and then across this little road here, which might be the best thing to do, or turn right and cut across this really major road. Now, my concern with that is this road's also kind of busy. So I think wherever I go with this, I'm going to have to elevate this track one way or another. And so I think what we do is we come in here and I think we just create another bridge. I was kind of hoping to get away with not doing too much of this, but I'm also sort of keenly aware of the fact that this might look kind of cool if I sort of do this right, which I'm hoping I can. It doesn't seem like it wants to be possible though, which is a little bit frustrating. So if I just kind of continue to bring this sort of straight out, ooh, that's really not what I was looking for at all. If I just bring it out like this though, it's a little higher than it's giving me some roller coaster tycoon vibes right there. It's not really what I was looking for. But about something like that, I guess. If I change the bridge out for something like this guy or this guy, I was hoping it would work, but that construction is apparently not possible. This is though, which is odd. So let me just bring this back a little bit because it's currently a little bit too high for my liking. Is that a little bit more level? If I bring that down slightly, that seems more reasonable. I don't know if that's going to be able to get over the other road or not, but I don't mind this. Let me just sort of bring it over a little closer to the road and let's build you. So that's going to cut straight through, which is fine. This road here is kind of busy, but I don't mind going across it too much. In fact, I'm pretty sure I can probably just connect directly to you. And what does that do? Oh, that gives me a lot more bridge than I was expecting, but I don't know if I mind that because again, it goes over this pretty major road. This one's kind of busy and it's kind of a nasty connection, but we can fix that. Let's approve it for the time being. This kind of dips down, which I don't love. Pretty sure I can fix that as well if I just take out this little section of road here and we go and get ourselves a replacement. If I start here and go to there, that is a little bit better. And if I take out this section up to about there, I'm pretty sure I can get exactly the same result. Just a nice little gradual slope down to the train line, which is completely fine. This, on the other hand, is, well, it's gonna leave a little bit to be desired, I think, is what it's gonna do. But hopefully we can come out of here, something like so. And then hopefully I can just do this. And that gives me a much better incline. Over here, on the other hand, it's going to be a struggle. But again, pretty sure if I just take this back a little bit and then go grab you and do that, that is, yeah, I'll allow that. Now, I suppose I should probably figure out where this entire train line is going to be going, because it is going to need a pretty good connection to this whole thing. And I'm kind of thinking there for our station, which means it's going to come across this road, but that road's not all that busy, which I'm sort of okay with. And then the train line itself is just going to need to curve to the right. It will probably go through this hill, cut across this road, and just cut sort of straight over to there, which means cutting across another train line, which I don't like doing. Not a huge fan of that at all, but I think it's about my only choice. So let me go back to tracks, and I think we're just going to put something straight through the mountain now so that I can get an idea of where exactly my lines are going to have to go. In fact, let me do from that side first to about there, because this guy's going to have to come over. It's going to be a bit of a sharp curve, but I think we can make that work. And then for the rest of this, let's see what exactly we're going to be doing. I think we go... I think we go and try and avoid... Well, do we want to avoid the woods? That seems like a lot of unnecessary cost and a little bit of a loss of speed. So we'll go in a nice straight line here. It's this part I'm worried about. This is the part I don't want to deal with, because again, it has to go across this really busy road, which kind of makes me think that another bridge might be needed. I don't know how realistic that is, though. I feel like I'm doing too many bridges for this train line, but it does sort of seem like it's going to be my only choice, really. So I think that's kind of what we do. I think we swap it out for not that. Well, actually, you know what? I'm sort of okay with that. Let me lower it down on that side a little bit, or raise it up on the other side to start with a little bit. I don't actually mind the idea of doing like a little, yeah, I kind of like that. I do. I kind of like that. I don't know how it's going to connect to everything, but I kind of like that. So that's what we're going to do. And then I just need to figure out how to connect you to you, which is this apparently. Can I make it look not silly? Yeah, sort of. We'll go with that. And for the rest of it, it's you to right about there, which again, it looks about as good as I thought it was going to. This is a bit of a problem. I love what it's doing with my roads. I mean, I don't. It's a nightmare and it's hellish, but I love it. But the good news is, with all of this done, we now have the train line set up to bring silver to this machines plant, this machines factory, which is fantastic news. So the other thing we need to do is get ourselves a truck station. And I guess what we'll do is have 2 platforms left, 2 on the right, make it 30 meters long. And we'll have, you know, some leftover platforms for the excess deliveries and whatnot. In fact, let's do 3 on the right, because that'll be our, well, how are we going to deliver all of this now that I think about it? Let's do, you know what? Let's do 3 on the left, none on the right. And we'll split this up a little bit, is what we'll do. We'll have 2 different depots, so traffic isn't really overlapping all that much. In fact, I almost wonder if it'd be worth putting my deliveries, so the machine delivery line right about there, so they're on completely separate roads. And then if I go over this way, we have this depot already, which is great. I think we go ahead and we bring a little bit of road out here, so we have that overlap. And I think we bring, can I upgrade you? I absolutely can, which is fantastic. I think we bring you out a little bit and just curve it around so it connects to here. And then this is how we're going to bring the steel down here. So then the steel is going to go into, we'll say 2 platforms on the right and on the left. It's basically going to go in here. And that way we're going to have everything nicely separated. The trucks bringing the steel aren't going to overlap with the trucks taking the machines. The silver comes in on a train. So everything's nicely separated, and that's hopefully going to keep us in a good spot. As for you, this is exclusively deliveries right now. So let me put you in terminal 1. Let me put you in terminal 2. And that'll be all right. So what we can do here, because it has that overlap, is we can set up a new line that goes from here. We'll say terminal 6, just so it's down there a little bit. And we'll say 5 as well. Those other guys are going to have to be set up to only use 1, 2, 3, and 4, I think, so that we don't have overlap here. But the idea is it goes from there to here, We'll say terminals 1 and 2. We can set this up as, I think it was this color right here. It is road cargo. It is Montgomery, and it is going to be, what is it? Steel to machines. And that is going to be perfect. That's exactly what we're looking for. Yes, it'll cause a little bit of traffic here, but I'm not super worried about that. I think what I'd like to do is just make sure that this guy, if we manage this line, it's currently in platform 1. So it's going to be 1 and 2. And if we go and look at the other one, this one right here, manage your line, you are going to be going to 3 and you are going to be going to 4. So the guys bringing stuff in are hitting platforms 1, 2, 3, and 4. The guys taking stuff out are 5 and 6 coming down to here. So there's no overlap in the platforms. And then this will be set up to take the machines to Montgomery, to Oklahoma City, and to Huntsville. And I would say that a lot of that's going to be via the highway, but I think it makes sense that the Oklahoma one's going to come down here, which is fine. The Montgomery one's going to go up here. And then the Huntsville one can take the highway to Huntsville. That's totally fine. And just like that, we happen to have all of the truck lines set up as well, which is beautiful news. So now all I need to do is get the vehicles for this whole thing. And I don't remember if this happened in the last episode or between episodes, but you might be interested to know that we have got some new trucks. We now happen to have this guy, which for the life of me, I don't remember what it is. It is the Kenworth K100E tanker truck. We also have other variations available as well, which is absolutely fantastic. These guys have a higher capacity, if I remember right, than the trucks we've been using this entire time, the Peterbilt ones. So I'm very excited to use those for this entire setup. In fact, let's go ahead and see what we can do with a bunch of those trucks right about now. So we're going to be moving steel down to this factory. Let's see what trucks we would need in order to do that. I'm assuming the stake trucks, absolutely. Capacity of 35 versus 25 on the old trucks. Not bad at all. Let's get 3 of those. And they're moving steel, so let's paint them kind of a nice silvery color. And we are looking for Montgomery in here. We are looking steel to machines. So this line right about there. We'll go ahead and get those moving. And the rate on that line is 463. Yeah, we probably don't even need 3 of these. 1 of these would be okay for now. But that's what we're going to go for, apparently. Then for machines, what do we need to move machines? That I would assume is the tipper. Nope, it's going to be the box truck. Yeah. So it is going to be the box truck. Capacity of 30. Let me do... You know what? Let me do 2 of those, I think, for now. And if they're moving machines, let me just paint them up something a bit different. Let me go for this like really light blue. Yeah, I'm kind of here for that. Let me duplicate that and let me get another pair of those as well. And what we'll do is put these 2 onto the Montgomery. It is Montgomery machines to Huntsville. You 2 are going to go Montgomery machines delivery, I think was the next one. No, it is Oklahoma. And then you 2 are on the Montgomery machines delivery, which is this line right about here. So that now means that this line for Huntsville has a rate of 39. Could definitely be better, but that's all right. Oklahoma is a rate of 69, which is kind of nice. And you're 141. I'm all right with that. It is by no means the end of the world. And our last step for this entire thing is now a train, which means it's going to be a good thing that I added a new train depot down here. Let's figure out what's going to be moving the silver ore and then silver bars around here. So if we look at our locomotives, we do still have the big boy. I do really enjoy that train, but I think we're going to have to go for something a little bit more modern and ideally something as fast as we can possibly get, which is going to be 75 miles per hour. So let's have a look. What is going to be our most powerful one? Probably this guy. And now that I think about it, I mean, yeah, 75 miles per hour. I want to say that maybe this one is what we're looking for. Just to be a bit different with it. It's the only train that's going to be on the line, so we'll paint it up kind of a nice silvery color. We'll add one of those. And then the wagons, annoyingly, are going to have to be different. So we have the gondola for the silver ore. And then we have the flat car with side stakes for the silver bars. Let's do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of those. Brings us to 109. Let's do 7 of those. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 of those. And it is still pretty good. I don't know what the ratios are in this whole thing. Let me just buy that train for now. Let's go ahead and stick it onto the garland lines in here somewhere, this one. And we'll just see how that ends up going. I've really got no idea what the ratios are. Let me have a very quick look. So it's 2 to 1. So for every 2 silver ore, we get 1 bar. Okay. So with that in mind, maybe I want to change this train just a little bit. Let me manage this vehicle. Let me modify this vehicle. So 2 to 1 would imply that, so this thing can carry 18, you can carry 18. So for every 2 of these, we need 1 of these. So if I take all of this out and I get you painted up in that nice silvery color, we're going to do 2, 4, 6, 8, 10 of those, I guess. Brings up to 194. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of those. And that'll be all right. We're not moving as much silver as I'd like. I'm starting to think that I probably will need to ever so slightly get a second track on here. But for now, it's okay. And I guess while we're waiting for all that to come together, I want to have a look at what's going on here because we have a lot of stuff just sitting around. Now, as it stands, if we look at our consumers, Montgomery Goods Factory, we're shipping 296. Our rate is 275, 276 up here. Let me manage these vehicles. Let me swap them out. So this is moving steel. So I can replace all of these guys. That brings us to a rate of 386. Now that says to me that I can probably get rid of 2 of these trucks and still have a rate roughly what we're looking for, 257. Never mind. Let me get 1 more of those guys in there, bring it up to 321. That's completely fine. Still 1 less vehicle, which is great. So we'll get all that going. And then the slag situation isn't much better. 210 on this. Let me manage those vehicles and swap out for something that can move slag around a little bit, which is going to be a tipper truck. Brings us to 294. So really not much done on the rate of that one. But it should mean that this place isn't backing up quite as much as it was. And then down here, these guys are bringing in coal and iron. So let me just manage those vehicles and replace all of those with tipper trucks as well so that they can bring everything in that little bit easier. So that's that one replaced. And then the coal line, manage vehicles, replace the vehicles with the tipper truck as well. And that'll put us in a pretty good spot. It'll give us more stuff coming in, which is what we're looking for. And hopefully it's not going to be too long until we see steel getting loaded up on trucks and brought down to here. Oh, now this is pretty cool, actually. Just having this cargo train going right along the edge of town. I like that a lot. I am hoping we start to see some construction on the other side here as well. Although I'm wondering, have I locked that road? I haven't. Or have I? Oh, I absolutely have. I don't know if that means the game can build out of existing intersections or not. So I think what I'll do is I'll come through here and just get some roads into this space just in case the game wants to build some houses out here. I think it would look really cool if it did. So just in case it's listening, I'm just, this is me saying, hey, build some stuff out here. It would look really neat with the train line going through. Now, obviously, and unfortunately, this train line is completely empty as it heads out here. So it's going to be a little while before we see any machines production, but we do have some steel getting dumped in here. And by some, I mean 1, which isn't exactly, it's not exactly the most exciting thing in the world, but it's still better than nothing. It means that this guy is slowly moving towards a bit of an upgrade, which is what we're looking for. And then we have all these guys coming in here to do their thing as well. Hopefully we see some good stuff come out of this, and hopefully the traffic problems through the middle of Montgomery aren't going to be, well, they're rough. they're definitely a bit rough. I do reckon I could probably get rid of this traffic light. I want to say it's probably unnecessary. So we'll turn that off since there's not that much traffic going out that one little street there. This one as well, I'm inclined to say we can turn off. There's not actually that much traffic heading towards the roundabout. And we'll just see what happens from there, I guess. This one as well, turn it off. It'll be fine, I'm sure. And I don't really think that's going to do much for traffic. I think there is just a lot of it that's trying to get around here. This intersection, I'm gonna keep the traffic lights on. I want to say that's probably a good idea. This one and this one can probably have them turned off. I don't like that that building's just collapsed. I don't know how to feel about that, but you know, that seems like a Montgomery problem. It's not my job to look after the city. It's my job to make sure the transport around the city is doing okay. Montgomery is aiming to grow as well, so we'll see what goes on with all of that. How's Oklahoma doing in terms of growth? Aiming for 4,800, currently at 2,700. That's really good. And especially with the machines coming in here, we'll be starting to provide absolutely everything that the town wants, which is beautiful. We need to get food into Montgomery. That's something that I'm going to have to worry about probably in the next episode. And we need to get food into Huntsville as well. So that'll be the project, I think, for that next episode is we'll start bringing food into all of these towns. We do have food coming into Oklahoma, even if it's not a whole lot of it. How are we, where is that food coming from? Suppliers, Huntsville food processing. Interesting that we're not transporting as much as we could be here. I'm going to keep this pinned for a second. So Huntsville food processing is this guy. Okay. So we could definitely be doing a little bit more with this. Is what I'm thinking. We could definitely be doing a bit more with this. And this actually seems to be not really handling as much food as I would like. So let me swap you guys out for the better trucks. We'll go with the box trucks. And that'll hopefully be moving a little bit more of that, which is what we're looking for. If we go and look at the tools factory, which is this guy, we can have a look and see High Point, Oklahoma Steel to Tools, Oklahoma Tools Delivery. Could this be doing better? This, no, it's got about 100%. I wonder if the transport stat from Oklahoma is how much. So we're transporting 100% of what this factory produces, but I wonder if this means that it's only 83% of what the city wants. If we have a look at Oklahoma's stats, it is 61-ish of 119. And then I wonder if 73 is about 86% of 100. You know what? Math. I'm not even gonna go there. It's not 86% of 119. It's fine. We could be moving more is the point that I think it's trying to get to here. And then in terms of suppliers, Montgomery Fuel Refinery, 8% on that is a little bit rough. Although I wonder, are you doing all right? You are doing your best. There's a lot of sand just sitting around up here, which I think is the problem that's holding this thing back a little bit. So if we look at the sand to bricks, I think we'll throw another, we'll put another 5 vehicles in that line just to really start moving that sand around and getting out of there, just to try and get this guy to improve a little bit. Looking at you, that shipment stat is slowly coming up, which is fantastic. And then looking down here, we have a little bit of steel in storage, which is hopefully going to improve once the train, wherever it happens to be, right about here, makes its way all the way back down here. This is a very, very long train line that suddenly I'm thinking probably should have multiple trains. It has a rate of 175 per year with a frequency of 19 minutes. Yeah, I hate to say it, but I'm going to have to put multiple trains on here, or at least some sections with multiple train lines, because I don't think I'm going to be able to upgrade all of my bridges to accommodate for multiple trains. But I do think I can probably get away with some sections where trains can pass each other. So that'll be the goal, I think, of this little project right here. And you know, I've got to be honest, I'm actually kind of surprised, but most of this line is actually going to have 2 sets of tracks, which is amazing. I've managed to double up pretty much all the bridges. This entire space here has been doubled up as well, which looks pretty cool. And I think the only space that's not doubled up is the end station and this little space around this station down here. So we're going to, you know, it's just going to mean trains are kind of waiting, as well as the spot back here as well. But again, that's totally okay. I'm not really too worried about that. What we'll do in terms of signals then is a signal right here. I will turn on automatic signals as well and go for about there. And that should mean that we have signals the entire way up here, which is absolutely perfect. And that's roughly exactly where I'd want it to be. We'll do a signal right about here, which is maybe a bit close to that merging point. So we'll get rid of that one. And and that gives us signals the entire way down here as well, which is great. It gives us one right here as well, so it's going to be waiting. That is kind of perfect for that little section there. As for the rest of this, let me go in and get myself a signal, say here. And then we have not got automatic signals the entire way across. Let's try it again. Let's go for signals right about there. It would be auto-saving when I try and do this, wouldn't it? You would just have to do that to me, Transport Fever, because now I don't know if the auto-signaling is going to work. Which, I mean, hopefully it will, but any second now. The longer I play this, the more the auto-saving takes forever. But we all know the rules in auto-saving, right? At this point, I've gone on about it enough that I think we all get the picture on my my stance on the auto-saves. So let's just have this go back that way. It did double it up, which is beautiful. And I think that's probably okay in terms of distance. I don't think that's going to be a problem. It just means that there is going to be a bit of space between the trains here and there, but I'm really not that concerned about it. This comes all the way down. That's a perfect stop right there. And that should mean that I can now put multiple trains on that line. I think. I'm pretty sure that's what it means. I'm pretty sure that's what it means. I don't love the fact that the trains are going to have to go all the way to the end of the line and then back, but I think it'll be okay. I think what we'll do is duplicate you again, and I'm going to do another one. I'm going to bring it up to 700 as that rate. I think that'll be great. This thing can go up to 1200 on production, so once this thing starts leveling up, that'll be fantastic. But for now, we'll get these guys going out. We'll get them doing their thing. And in time, we're going to be moving 700 units of silver ore back and forth, which is going to be about 350 silver bars. And I guess if I really wanted, am I about to do what I think I'm about to do? If I really wanted to, really wanted to, I could add another platform to this station. I could have trains going back and forth, only moving the ore. So just set up solely for the ore so we can move, 1,200 units of silver ore back and forth to this thing. This guy can produce, I don't know, up to 600, whatever it ends up being, 800, I don't know. But we could set this up for some perfect rates if I really wanted to. I suppose it's going to depend on just how in demand those machines become, right? I think that's kind of what we're going to be waiting on. Let me also just double check that this did, and it absolutely did double up. That's perfect. That's really satisfying when the game just does what you want it to do. And there we go. We have this train finally making it back here, loading up with a whole bunch of silver ore, and hopefully turning around immediately. And yep, there we go. Turning around, heading on out. We've got another train ahead of it, which is completely fine. We should have another train ahead of that somewhere. Yep, right down here, which again is completely fine. And I really can't help escape the feeling that I should set this up to be that slightly more efficient option. I want to say that I want to say that makes sense. So let's configure this guy. And I think what I might have to do is, I mean, how long is this station? That's probably the other question I should be asking right now, but let's get the tracks in here first. I think this station is quite small. So I almost wonder, since I chopped away a bunch of this space for the highway, am I about to, yeah, I'm gonna have to flatten out this mountain a little bit, I think, just to extend this station. So let me get the flatten tool. Let me do this. I really don't like doing this. It's not a good habit to be in, but I think it's gonna do me some favors is what it's gonna do. So we'll flatten all of that out. Let me configure this station. We'll get we got the extra sections of track right there. I'd like to get this whole thing doubled up, and I want this to be as long. Wait, did I already? Oh, I already did it. I'm an idiot. Never mind. Let me take out all those parts we're not using right there. I'm just on autopilot today. I swear, I'm genuinely just on complete autopilot right now. It's not a good thing. It's really, really not a good thing. But this, oh, this comes out some serious distance. It probably doesn't need to go that far. I'll be honest. It really doesn't need to go that far, but about double the length of the current station, I think that's fair enough. I think I can get away with that. And I think I can get away with putting some stuff on this side as well. And this should make it a little bit easier and a little bit neater for the trains to get in and out of here. So what we can do is take this part away. We can bring some nice high-speed tracks right into there and right out to there. And so the trains are going to come in on the right, which means they'll need to come out here and cut to my current left. Signals will need to go here and here, and that should be totally fine. Let's go ahead and smooth this out. We are going to have a train in a little bit of trouble over there, but we can absolutely fix that. And so I suppose with this setup, I should redo the lines is what I should do. So I did just get these trains. I'm just going to get rid of them, even though one of them did just load up though. One of them just got started, man. Hold on. Let's not get rid of that original one, because I think that original one's the one that has cargo right now. So sell these guys. And then this one does have cargo on board, which is fine. Let me modify that train. Let me get rid of the flat cars and side stakes. And let me get some more gondolas. And let me bring that capacity up until the train is about 300 meters long, which is 295. So 288. That'll be 144 steel bars or silver bars, which is fine. So modify the train. Let's paint you. Let's go for this color, I guess. We'll go for a slightly darker kind of color there. And I want to clone you. And I want to clone you again, which is going to give us 678 on the rate, which is perfect. We're going to manage this line, and it is no longer going to be going to Montgomery transfer, which is totally okay. So 1838 is the rate now. That's going to be that's way too much, but that's okay. Let's make sure. No, that is not what I wanted to do. Add station here. And let's put you on platform number 2, please. So you're going the right way. You are going to be unloading only in High Point. And that should be all right. If we manage the vehicles, if I get rid of one of you, that brings us down to 1378, which is still higher than I'd be looking for, but that is, well, it's 178 higher than I'd be looking for, but that's okay. So this now goes back and forth. That'll only be moving silver ore, and I am completely okay with that. That is totally fine. We now want to get ourselves a new line, and that new line is going to go from High Point right here, High Point platform 1, all the way up to this guy. And this is going to be train cargo. It is going to be High Point. No, I don't know why I put a stop at the end of that. And it is going to be silver bars to machines. And that'll be totally okay. And then in terms of trains for the silver bars line, we basically need the rate on this line to be about 600. Because the silver mine can only produce 1200 per year when it's fully upgraded. And we're not going to be hooking other silver mines into this right now. So the most that factory will ever produce is 600. So we'll keep it relatively simple. We're going to be moving silver bars. They're going to be going on the flat cars. So we'll do, honestly, we'll just go until the 300 meter limit has been reached, which is 295, 288 capacity. That's completely fine. We'll buy this. We'll paint it a nice sort of silvery color. And that is going to go on train cargo. High Point silver bars to machines, and we want to have a look at that line and make sure everything is set up properly. These guys never overlap, which is great. Your rate is 268. Annoyingly, that's going to mean that we have to modify this. I wonder if I modify you and I take 2 of those cars out, that comes down to 235. If I modify you again and take another car out, that comes down to 218. If I modify you again and take another car out, 201. If I then duplicate you, that should give me 403. If I get one more, that should be 605-ish, 604. Yeah. Okay. That's about perfect. That is absolutely about perfect. And then I think we can do the same thing with these guys down here on this line. So 1378 currently. If I go and manage all of these vehicles and I take 1 gondola from each of them and hit that modify, 1292. If I go and do that again, take 1 gondola from each of them, that gives us 1206. So that is about as perfect as I think I'm going to get, but that's good. So these guys are exclusively moving the ore. The other guys are exclusively moving the silver bars. Both of their rates are set up exactly how I'd want them to be. And now I just need to wait for everything to happen, really, which is annoyingly going to take a minute, but I think this is the better way to do things. I absolutely think this is the better way to do things. Let me also make sure that we are only loading up on silver bars here in High Point, and then we're only unloading things at Montgomery Transfer. And like I said, it's kind of just a waiting game now, but I think this is the better way to go. So I suppose at this point, the only thing left to do is figure out how much money we are going to make by delivering 252 silver ore to this factory. And I'm also curious to see how quickly we can level this thing up, because that is kind of the goal. We want to level this up and level the mine up, but it probably will take a little while. Regardless, we are going to be looking at a grand total of 7.3 million per train. That's not bad. That is not bad at all. This thing is going to be producing hopefully relatively quickly. It might take a little while to ramp up production, but the goal is obviously that at some point we will be producing really nicely here. Not sure why this guy's sitting around chilling. There we go. He's on his way out, which is what we're looking for. Really kind of worried that he was going to try and pick some things up there. And the next train is well on its way. We have this guy coming in to pick things up as well. There's 181. So I almost wonder if I want to say that when they're coming in to pick things up here, if we manage this line here in Garland, let me just have you guys wait for a full load of silver. I don't imagine that's going to be a problem long term, but I'm going to have you guys wait for like 5 minutes. Actually, let's just have you wait for up to 10 minutes for a full load of silver right there, just to make sure that the trains aren't going back and forth. I mean, again, it shouldn't be an issue long term once we start maxing out the production around here, which is very much going to be the goal. And then when it comes to the other trains, we are unfortunately kind of just going to be waiting for them to find their way back, which it looks like one of them absolutely is already, which is great news. I love this. I love seeing the train go out. It's so cool. And then you got like the plane going up in the background there. Where are you going? That is Salem to Miami. There's 60 people on board. So good. That right there is such like a perfect little capture. I mean, it's not the prettiest like still frame with all the icons and stuff, but it's such a perfect, like, this is transport fever. You got a truck down here, you got a train right there, you got a plane in the background. The only thing we're missing is a boat. And unfortunately, I don't really think I've got much use for boats on this map. I mean, is there anywhere I could use boats? I guess I could use it from like here, right? We could use a boat from Naperville up to, I guess, like Thousand Oaks. Actually, you know what? McAllen. Oh, McAllen could be a lovely little hub for boats. We absolutely destroyed this town by running a train line right through the middle of it. We might as well make it a little little seaside resort or something like that. That seems like a great idea. Now, in other exciting news, it seems like the Montgomery Steel Mill has upgraded, which is what we're looking for. Our consumers are being dealt with really nicely. Our suppliers are shipping 1,200 each. Our production, therefore, is going to be 600 of each of these. So we are now producing up to 600 slag and 600 steel, which I'm totally okay with. These numbers, I mean, basically for this thing to level up a bunch more, we are going to need to bring more iron and coal in here from other mines, which is definitely an option at some point, but I don't think we need to do it right now. We have a lot of steel for goods, which is not getting moved. 204 is the rate on that line. The consumer is looking for 348 apparently. So we might want to do something about that. Where are you going? Let me have a look at this line. So that line heads up there, which is okay. I am noticing though, that road is kind of busy and we kind of have some traffic stuck in it, which I'm not appreciating. Definitely. And same with this one. Not appreciating that either. Although that's a different line by the looks of it. We might want to do something about traffic around here. I think we might want to just ever so slightly increase the density on some of these roads. I don't know if this is going to do too much for me, but we'll sort of increase it there. I suppose I can increase it right here as well and see if that just sort of spreads the traffic out a little bit. This will be, oh, that's totally doable. Okay. Suddenly, I'm a little bit less concerned about all of this. We can continue up to about there. We can turn you into something a bit better, turn all these guys into something a bit better. And honestly, it looks like we can just push the entire way up there, which is great. And then I'm just going to do my usual of putting bus lanes on all of these little sections of road so that my traffic doesn't get stuck in the rest of the traffic. And I've also just remembered that our plastic production up here is still wild. 14,000 plastic in storage right here is really something. That's really something. Let me swap out some of these trucks so that we can hopefully start moving more of this in the not too distant future. It is going to just be the box trucks that we're looking for here, which is completely fine. That's going to bring the rates in some of these lines up a little bit, but honestly, really not all that concerned about it. Goods delivery with you, same thing. We'll go for that box truck. Plastic to goods. Now this is doing just fine as it is right now, but honestly, we'll upgrade that as well because we can. That's going to go to 476. And then Salem goods delivery, it's got 10 vehicles. I don't know if we're really doing anything with Salem goods delivery, but we'll go ahead and get all of those in there as well. And that's just going to be a little bit of a better setup up here, which is what we're looking for. We do, I think, still have some old trucks bringing things around here. So let me get this sorted out. So you are moving crude oil and turning it into oil. Let me manage these vehicles, swap them out for the tanker trucks, which will bring 887 up to 1242, which I think should be perfect because this is producing 1200. Yep, that's absolutely perfect. You are going to moving the oil over to turn it into plastic. Now, what are you producing right now? You can produce up to 600 because we're only bringing in up to 1200 crude oil. So that's all right. So the rate on this line does not need to exceed 600, which I don't imagine it will with this little upgrade here. It goes to 567, which honestly, give me one more and that'll probably push it over 600. Yeah, 661. So it does quite a lot to it, which is okay. But that should get everything moving around a little bit. That is only going to make plastic production even more ridiculous, which isn't really the goal here, but that's all right. If we actually take a look here at what we're doing, so plastic to goods is which line? That's plastic to goods right there. Your rate is currently 477. So if it's 477, it's 1-to-1. So one of these and one of these makes one of those. What exactly are we doing with the steel? It's 437. Okay, manage vehicles, give me one more. Let's bring that up to 480. That's perfect. So now it's even. We are hopefully going to see this eventually balance out. That's the goal, is that it might eventually balance out. I have my doubts, but we'll have to wait and see. Speaking of waiting and seeing, have we had anything produced here yet? No, but we have a lot of steel sitting around. Do we have anything on its? Ooh, we do. Look at you. We've got 67 silver bars coming in. It's not as much as I was hoping for, but honestly, I am kind of okay with that. I might set this line up to wait as well. So manage line in high point, wait until full for like 10 minutes, just so we kind of have that same setup where, you know, they're each waiting until they're full for as long as they possibly can, and then they head out. But I want to see how much this guy makes with like half of its train, not even half the train full of silver. I mean, regardless, we're going to be making machines, and those can now go into all the towns. So this entire process here today, this is what it's been for. And I've got to be honest, 2.7 million is a little bit lower than I was expecting, but this guy now has everything it needs to start actually producing machines, and they're going to be going straight to Oklahoma City, which makes me very, very happy. So now that that's being consumed, I think that might have a knock-on effect here and get this guy a little bit more excited about its production. Actually, now that I think about it, this is producing up to, so it's producing 600. Yeah, this thing will be able to max out its production. So if we can max out the shipment, we might level this up again. Although at that point, I don't think it's going to go anywhere because then it will need those other suppliers for the iron and the coal, but that's fine. This is up to 534 now, which is interesting, but if we can move all that out, we'll have goods production go through the roof as well. We're going to have the machines production coming in. This is good. This feels like we've done good here. We also somehow have a little bit less traffic on this road. Well, you know, that might, okay, that would be a lie. We don't really have less traffic on this road. We do up here. There's a little bit less, a little tiny bit less, but it's still really bad. And I suppose just before we wrap things up today, I want to take a look at this mine. It is currently locked at 400 shipment because the silver mill is only looking for 400, which makes sense. We're looking to produce up to 200, so we need 400 of this. Shipment wise, if we look at consumers, it's going here. We're shipping as much as we possibly can. Suppliers is fine. This will level up eventually. It'll take a little bit. We're going to have to start making some deliveries with all of the different goods and whatnot, but this will absolutely level up in the not too distant future, which is what we're looking for. It's what we want, because if we can get that silver production up a little bit, we can get that machines production up a little bit, we can get Montgomery everything that it wants. It wants a lot of machines, which is going to take a little bit. It's actually losing its population right now as well. Oklahoma is aiming for another 2,100 people in here, and that's without the machines coming in. So that's going to be amazing. And then Huntsville is aiming for another 300 people. And again, that's without machines and food. So we're doing pretty well in this little setup. I like to think things are going well. We've just had another train pull in here. We've got a decent few machines sitting around, which is great. And I would like, I guess, this thing to level up at some point as well. This might actually be the sticking point. Getting this thing to level up first, and then it'll be the silver factory and so on and so forth. But again, that's all part of the plan. We knew that was how it was going to be. It's going to take a bit of time. It's taken a bit of time to get this all set up, but I think now that it's set up, we can sort of move away from it and we can focus on some other things. So next time, I want to start getting some food into, I mean, Montgomery's getting food already. It's not really getting much in the way of bricks anymore, which is disappointing. That's probably why the population's going down. But if we can start bringing tools in here, if we can start bringing bricks in here, maybe a little bit more food in here. Same with Huntsville. It has no food right now. I think we'll be in a really good place with these three cities. So that's going to be the goal. I'd also wonder, I might need to move more sand here as well. This thing is just, yeah, this thing's producing a lot. Suddenly it makes sense why this little station's getting overwhelmed. Anyway, that is going to do us for today. Thank you so much for watching, everybody. It has been an absolute pleasure as always. And as always, I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.